Okay, so it says here, if I use a Firestone on my Dragonite right here on this very spot, it will evolve into a legendary Pokemon known as Yoshi. Well, here goes nothing.
You fools! I am finally free from that eternal prison of being Mario's slave. Now I will take over the so-called Pokemon universe and destroy everything and rule the world.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Your Dragonite evolved into an evil emperor that's going to destroy the world. Oh, so close. What is going on, guys? This is Dobbs here, bringing you another Pokemon video. And in this video, we're going to go over the top 10 weirdest ways to evolve Pokemon. And I just want to say, big shout out to Santo from the Dobbs Nation Discord server for coming up with this cool idea. If you're not already a part of the Dobbs Nation Discord server, you should definitely join. There'll be a link down below in the description. But yeah, anyways, with that said, without further ado, let's get started.
Number 10.
Alright, we're gonna kick off this top 10 with something pretty simple, but still pretty weird. So with that said, for number 10, I chose the Eevee from Pokemon Colosseum XD. Now let's go back like 10 years ago to the first Pokemon Colosseum game where you started with an Espeon or an Umbreon. And if you played those games, you probably wondered why you started with those Pokemon and not just simply an Eevee. And well, it was due to one simple reason. The Pokemon Colosseum games weren't programmed to use the GameCube's internal clock. Therefore, time-based events couldn't occur. So they were just like, alright, we'll just let them start with an Espeon or an Umbreon and just let them have either one of those and just screw the other 3 Eevee evolutions. And of course, if you've forgotten, Espeon and Umbreon can only evolve through happiness in daytime or nighttime. So it was just impossible to evolve an Eevee in these games. But a few years later, in Pokemon Colosseum XD, the developers solved this issue with one simple solution. They added these exclusive items called the Sun Shard and the Moon Shard. And basically, they were just passive items in your bag that would, help evolve the Eevee into the respective form. So you basically had a walking sun or moon just hanging out in your bag, and whenever your Eevee was happy enough, it would evolve into an Espeon or an Umbreon. A kind of a weird way to evolve, but still pretty cool. But this is nothing compared to number 1, because number 1 is just completely weird, and I've never seen anything like it. So be sure to stay tuned to be weirded out by this weird evolution.
Number 9.
Now this next one is a Pokemon from Sword and Shield, so it's really fresh and new. So for number 9, I chose the fake Poltergeist from Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now when I first heard about this evolution, I thought it was super strange and very weird. But the more I thought about it, the more it kind of made sense. It's a really weird evolution process. We've never seen this before in Pokemon. To put it simply, in order to evolve Sinistea, you first have to find a chipped or cracked pot. But the thing is, in the Galarian lore, 1 out of every 10 teapots are counterfeit. You can even check yourself by looking under the teapot for like a little symbol that shows that it's genuine. And whether or not you have a counterfeit teapot or a genuine one, it really doesn't matter because you can still use it on the Sinistea. And then inevitably have a real Poltergeist or a fake one, I guess. And that's where the gray area and weirdness comes in for this evolution. Is it a fake Poltergeist or is it a real one? One argument could be that Poltergeist is based on a Poltergeist, so it really doesn't matter what object it goes in. As long as it can fit in and possess it, it's fine. But another argument could be, why does it evolve? Why does it go through an evolution and not just a new form? Because it's not like an Eevee using a Firestone to evolve into a Flareon. I mean, Eevee can't use a fake Firestone to evolve, so why can Sinistea do just that with a fake teapot? I feel like I'm looking way too much into this, but that's why I put it on this list. I feel like it's a very weird concept, and ultimately that is why it's number 9 on this list.
Number 8.
Now this next one at face value could be very confusing and weird. So with that said, for number 8, I chose Carablast and Shelmet. Now, back in the day of Pokemon Black and White, I'm sure we all asked that question of why does Carablast evolve into Scavalier and Shelmet into Selgor? Because it feels like it should be the other way around, because Carablast all of a sudden gains armor and Shelmet loses its armor. I know I asked that question because I thought it was like a mess up in the coding or something. It just didn't make any sense to me. And at face value, this seems like a very weird evolution, but when you look into it, it really isn't. Because these two Pokemon are based on the relationship between a predator and prey. You see, Carablast is based on the Japanese snail-eating beetle, which is a beetle that does exactly what it's named after. It eats snails. And the specialty of this beetle is to rip off the shell of the snail and eat it. And that's exactly what happens with Carablast and Shelmet through the evolution process. When you trade these two Pokemon, Carablast literally tries to eat the Shelmet by ripping off its armor. But since the trade process is so quick, Carablast doesn't have time to catch the Shelmet and it just fuses with the armor that it stole, therefore creating a Scavalier. And with Shelmet, it continues to evolve without its armor, creating a Selgor. So basically the reason why they evolve into their respective counterparts is because Carablast wants to eat the Shelmet, but Shelmet is too fast and gets away. But looking at their speed stats, Carablast is more than twice as fast as Shelmet, so it still really doesn't make that much sense. But yeah, anyways, due to the weirdness of this evolution process, that is why Carablast and Shelmet are number 8 on this list.
Number 7.
Now this next one is another Pokemon Sword and Shield Pokemon, so it's also fresh and new. So with that said, for number 7, I chose Millcreek. Now Millcreek's evolution is more unique than weird, but those two words can be interchangeable, so it's still weird in my book. And hey, I wanted to feature more Generation 8 Pokemon on this list, so that's another reason why. To put Millcreek's evolution short and simple, all you have to do is find some sweets around the region, and then give it to it, and then start spinning. And depending on how long you spin and what rotation you spin in, it'll give you a certain kind of form of alchemy. And yeah, that's basically all there is to it. I didn't expect them to have the spinning feature to be a method of evolution. I just randomly found out that you could do it when I was getting my starter Pokemon, and it was just something silly. But yeah, I guess it makes sense because you have to whip milk to make cream, and you know, Millcreek evolves into alchemy. So I guess this just confirms that the spinning feature will be in every Pokemon game from now on, because how else will you evolve Millcreek in a future Pokemon game? And oh, I just realized the daytime actually affects the evolution too, so there's like 3 whole factors to evolving Millcreek, which is pretty cool and a weird way to evolve, and that is why it is number 7 on this list.
Number 6.
Now this next Pokemon is a weird Pokemon and has a weird evolution in a particular game. So for number 6, I chose the Pokemon Snap Magikarp. Now in Pokemon Snap, your objective is to catch them all through pictures. And with some of the Pokemon, you have to personally evolve them yourself because without intervening, they'll just sit there and do nothing. And like you probably guessed, one of these Pokemon you can intervene with is a Magikarp. You can evolve a Magikarp on the Valley map. And the way you do it is pretty weird, but it's still pretty funny. Basically, at the very beginning of the map, you have to throw Pester Balls at a particular spot in the water. And then a Magikarp will splash out and then go flying towards a Mankey. And you know, Mankeys have their temper, so it just punches the Magikarp across the map and it goes flying in the air. Which in and itself is a pretty hysterical sight to see. So after accomplishing that, later in the map, you'll see a Magikarp just chill on the riverside, just doing its little splash animation. And then once you hit it again, it will go flying towards a waterfall, and then a humongous Gyarados will just pop out. And boom, you just evolve the Magikarp by punching it a few times and throwing it at a Mankey, which is a very weird way to evolve any Pokemon. Punching it across the map and hitting it with a Mankey, it's kind of weird. But at the same time, it's pretty cool that they use Magikarp's origin of jumping up a waterfall to turn into a dragon. So it is both cool and weird, and that is why it's number 6 on this list.
Number 5.
Now this next one was an infamous rumor started by a magazine, and it was so convincing that it seemed to be true. Even I fell for it back when I was like 8 years old, but you know, when you're 8 years old, you fall for anything, so I'm not really surprised. But anyways, for number 5, I chose the Yoshi evolution. Now, around 20 years ago, and wow, I can't believe Pokemon's been out for over 20 years, it's crazy. A magazine known as Expert Gamer claimed that you could evolve a Dratini into a Yoshi. And what they said in their article is that you have to have 2 players, one with Pokemon Red and the other one with Blue, with all 151 Pokemon obtained on each game, excluding Mew. And after doing these prerequisites, the red player would train a Dratini to the blue player, then the blue player would train and evolve the Dratini to a Dragonite and then trade it back, and then the red player would go to the basement of the Cerulean Cave, serve to the location where Mewtwo was caught, take a Fire Stone and use it to evolve the Dragonite into a Yoshi. Yeah, sounds pretty convincing, right? But of course, it ended up being an April Fool's joke by the magazine, which inevitably fooled thousands and thousands of kids who were playing the Pokemon games, including myself. And I gotta admit, it would be so cool if Game Freak started doing Easter eggs like this by incorporating Nintendo IPs into their games. It would be so epic to battle with a Yoshi or a Goomba or something. Maybe in the future we'll see something like this, but for now, it's only an infamous rumor. And for those reasons, I chose Yoshi as number 5 on this list.
Number 4.
Now for this spot, we're going to talk about a different type of evolution. So with that said, for number 4, I chose de-evolution. Now to my knowledge, there are 3 Pokemon that can officially de-evolve, which are Slowbro, Slowking, and Executor. With Slowbro and Slowking, if the shelter comes off its tail or head, it becomes a Slowpoke again. And with Executor, if one of the heads fall off, it becomes an Execute again. And to me, I just find this so weird because isn't evolution all about transcending your current form? Why is it even possible that you can de-evolve into your previous form? And if you think it's weird that these 3 Pokemon can de-evolve, well, believe it or not, every Pokemon can de-evolve. Because in the TCG, there's a Pokemon card called De-Evolution Spray, which basically confirms in the Pokemon lore that you can go buy a spray to de-evolve your Pokemon. And if I was like a Milotic or something, I would be deathly afraid of that thing because you would revert back to an ugly Feebas. But what's even weirder than that, in the Pokemon manga, it just gets all messed up and confusing. In one manga, Green's Charmander evolves into a Charizard, then reverts back to a Charmander, just skipping Charmeleon. In another manga, there was an Eevee that was experimented on by Team Rocket that can freely evolve into all the Eevee evolutions at will, and then de-evolve back to an Eevee. Basically what I'm trying to say is the whole concept of de-evolution is just weird to me in Pokemon. And that's why it's on this list. It's a weird way to evolve, or I guess de-evolve in this case. And for those reasons, that is why I chose de-evolution for number 4 on this list.
Number 3.
Now this Pokemon's evolution is fairly simple, but it still evolves in a weird way, and it's pretty cool at the same time. So with that said, for number 3, I chose Inkay. Now this might possibly be the shortest number of any of my top 10s because there really isn't much to say about Inkay's evolution besides one thing. So with that said, in order to evolve an Inkay into a Malamar, all you have to do is turn your 3DS upside down and level up to 30. And that's it. That's all you have to do. And I find that weird, but also awesome. Even in Malamar's design, it looks like an upside down Inkay because it just has like little tentacles as its face and little squiddy thing as its bottom. Maybe that's why it's technically an evil Pokemon. Maybe when it evolves upside down, all of its ideals become opposite. Who knows, but it's still a weird way to evolve, and that is why it's number 3 on this list.
Number 2.
Now this will be the last Pokemon Sword and Shield Pokemon, but it definitely has the weirdest evolution out of all of them. So with that said, for number 2, I chose the Galarian Yamask. Now the way Yamask evolves in Pokemon Sword and Shield is pretty weird. It has to take 49 damage in a Pokemon battle, then you have to go straight to the wild area and walk under the Dusty Bull's archway. And then for some reason, it will evolve into Ruddigris. And that's basically it. It's a very short and simple evolution process, but still very weird. And I have a feeling this evolution process might have something to do with Viking runestones, because the symbols on runestones and Yamask's body look exactly the same. Maybe this process is symbolism for a Viking getting injured in battle and going to somewhere and dying. But instead of dying, the Yamask evolves into a runestone type thing. And if you want to know more about Pokemon origins, you should definitely check out my recent video going over the origins of all the Gen 8 Pokemon. And the more I think about the Viking Runestone and Ruddigris, they have a similar name, so I feel like I'm spot on with this evolution symbolism. I'm a freaking genius! But it's still a weird way to evolve, so for having the weirdest evolution out of all the Gen 8 Pokemon, that is why I chose Yamask for number 2 on this list.
Number 1.
Now here we are, the weirdest way to evolve a Pokemon that I've ever seen in my entire life. And this evolution method just blows away every Pokemon on this list by 100 times because it's just so weird. So with that said, for number 1, I chose a Gen 1 Pikachu. No, I'm not talking about evolving a Pikachu with a Thunderstone, I'm talking about evolving a Pikachu with a Growlithe. You can literally evolve a Pikachu into a Raichu by using a Growlithe in a battle. Yeah, let me explain. You see, back in Pokemon Red and Blue, the game's coding used the same memory address to check whether an item was used or if a Pokemon was in battle. So, for example, let's say you used a Water Stone. The game's memory typically saves Hex 22 in the coding. That would be the same as sending out an Onix in a battle because the game's memory also saves Hex 22 in the coding. You see where I'm getting at? So basically, sending out a Growlithe in a battle is the same as using a Thunderstone, because both actions typically save Hex 21 in the coding. So if you send out a Pikachu and swap the Growlithe, that would be the same as using a Thunderstone, and after the battle is over, Pikachu will evolve. Isn't that pretty cool? You can also do this with Psyduck, Exeggutor, Onix, and Hex 22 Missing Note, which all correspond to a Leaf Stone, Moonstone, Water Stone, and a Fire Stone, respectively. So if you would evolve, let's say, an Eevee in Style, all you have to do is bring out a Psyduck to swap the Eevee and evolve it into a Vaporeon. You don't even need the stone, which is a super awesome way to evolve Pokemon, but also extremely weird. And that is why a Gen 1 Pikachu and other Pokemon that evolve through stones are number 1 on this list. And there you go, the top 10 weirdest ways to evolve Pokemon. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to leave a like if you did, because I appreciate it a ton. Also, if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe, because I upload pretty frequently now, being a full-time YouTuber and all. And don't forget to ring that bell, because that notifies you even more. And if you want to be even more awesome, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or even join my Discord server, because all those platforms are super cool. And also, I'm doing an entire Pokemon Sword Let's Play on my Dobbs gaming channel, and you should definitely check it out, because it's an awesome game, and I would love to experience it with you guys. And finally, for the question of the day, what Pokemon evolution do you find the weirdest? Be sure to let me know down below in the comments, because I'm going to read those comments and reply to them and be like, whoa, that's crazy. And yeah, that's all for this video, and I will see you guys next time. See ya!